Let's go. Yeah, guns up. Shirt's kind of.
Oh baby.
Yeah, I'm wearing this one just because John Cena turned heel, and it gave me that Bray Wyatt NWO vibe. So I was like, okay, now we're. But I'll let you talk about how your
Wolfpack for
favorite.
life, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
The inner
got.
fanboy's coming out, man. The inner fanboy is coming out.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the breakdown, like match by match, and then I'll let you go first on your thoughts for every match, and if you want, if you feel comfortable, you can rate the match whether it sucked or it was mid or it was like the best one out of so far.
All
Um,
right, sounds good.
Perfect. That's what I was like. Let me just put something to spice it up. Okay, so the first match of the night, we did get the women's elimination chamber match. So I'm just gonna name the women who were involved, just in case whoever tunes in didn't know. Um, so we did get Liv Morgan versus Bianca Belair versus Naomi versus Roxanne Perez versus Bailey and Alexa Bliss. And I will throw out Jade Cargill because she was part of the intro, like literally before the match and the bell rang. So what were your thoughts on Jade Cargill? Just starting
All
off.
right, first of all, yeah, talking about Jade Cargill, man, besides the fact that she looks amazing and she's super athletic, why does she have the most epic freaking theme ever? I feel like one of the top guys should have that theme. Man, that theme is freaking epic. And, I'm not like sexist or anything, but
Yeah.
it's such an epic theme. And, you're giving it to the girl. I feel like that would be like a top tier superstar theme. I don't know, man. I just think it's a freaking epic theme. And I do believe, other than Cody, she was the only one that came over from AEW to WWE. Am I correct with that?
Well, to the main roster. But if we're talking about talent wise, like in NXT, um, there was Ethan Page. He came over. He was
I don't know who
NXT.
that is.
Yeah, another guy. Yeah, he was just a mid card guy. And there's like a handful of wrestlers from there that came over there. I think to NXT.
But the
And
main names, like the main
Ricky
superstars that
Starks.
came over
Ricky
from,
Starks was making name,
right, yeah,
but
Ricky Starks,
he
yeah.
just came over.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't watch AEW. I keep tabs a little bit here and there, but I don't really watch
Yeah,
AEW. I don't watch NXT either. I just want to preface this, because we are getting a couple of people tuning in right now. What's
yeah,
going on, everybody?
yeah,
Me and Harry are both a little bit different when it comes to wrestling.
yeah,
Harry's an old school fan. I'm an old school fan as well, but Harry does keep up with the modern product. Me personally, I am a casual. I'm somebody that literally watches like 5 or 6 pay-per-views a year. I know they're not called pay-per-views anymore. What is it? PLE, right?
yeah.
Premium
I
live
don't call
event.
them PLEs because it's not
I'm
like
always gonna call it a pay-per-view. I'm always gonna call it a pay-per-view. It's always been, we're watching the pay-per-view tonight. We're watching, that's how it is. So,
yeah,
to me personally, I watch the main ones. Obviously, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and then if there's like something interesting, maybe 1 or 2 shows that I'm intrigued by, then maybe I'll tune in. But I'm a casual. I watch the Vince Russo Raw review that he does over on Sportskeeda, and I watch clips on YouTube if there's anything interesting. But in terms of me keeping up with the week to week programming, I don't keep up with it because honestly, there's a lot of filler, and I'm a casual. I'm very story driven as
yeah,
opposed to being match driven. So just wanted to put that disclaimer out there, but it's interesting because we do have two
yeah,
different perspectives, so it's going to make for an entertaining show. Now, to start off with the Elimination Chamber women's match, I think that
yeah,
was a good way to start it off. You start off with the female match with the Elimination Chamber, and then you finish off with the men's. We're going to get to that. But I thought it was a very solid match. I really, really enjoyed it. Usually when it comes to female matches, whatever, I'll watch it. There's some people that really hate on women's matches. I don't hate it. I'll watch it. But this one was good. It was entertaining. The spots were well done. A lot of times I find that the women are a little bit sloppy in the ring, but wasn't the
yeah,
case last night. It was a very well concocted match. And, I feel like they all did their part. So Liv Morgan, for instance, like, you know, she was really the MVP of the show for me. She should have won, as far as I'm concerned, because she took a hell of a beating, man. She
Yeah.
really got her ass handed to her, and
Yeah.
she's a tough little cookie, so I got to give her that. But I really enjoyed the match, and other than Bianca winning, which was kind of predictable, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very well done match.
For me, I got like a different take on it. But I'm gonna read the comments because somebody wrote Brock Lesnar is the best in their opinion.
I love Brock
Um,
Lesnar.
I do like him, his in ring work. Outside of the ring, I don't like him. He
Fair point.
finishes
Fair
the
point.
matches in UFC too fast. I'm just
Yeah,
keeping
fair
it.
point.
It's like give them a chance because I know you're big, but like make it to like the third round or something. And then the next person says all Robin rings. Okay,
Oh,
give them.
we got a little bit of hate over here. I think that's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I got them locked up. I got them locked up in cages all over, guys. You if I turn the camera this way and that way, they're all locked up. So hide your wives,
Said,
hide your kids.
I wonder what my kids are. All right, there we go. Okay, so
Oh God,
hey, I'm just glad y'all came on and threw in some comments because this was
hell
like
yeah, man.
out of the blue. Ace hit me up before the pay per view started yesterday to do this, and I'm having fun. We both hit the gym today. Um, Tried out the Panda Skull and look at
Oh
his
yeah,
arms.
baby.
Yeah, I'm going in more with my
Guns
boy.
blazing today, baby.
Yeah,
Guns
he's getting
blazing.
married in October, end of October, so he's trying to get jacked too. Got the NWO shirt, pretty big, but doesn't matter. Let's get into this first match because
Hit this one
oh
today.
yeah,
Hit this one today,
yeah,
man.
Stim Shady, yeah, that
Slim
one.
Shady, baby. It was a good one.
Yeah,
It
don't
was a
sleep
good
on
one. I'm
that
gonna
one.
be reviewing it.
Yeah, because that's
It's a
a
good
good
one.
pre. So my take on this match, I love the start of it with Jade Cargill coming back. She did come back, and as you know, for me, I'm very observant, and I noticed she came back slimmer, not as jacked as before.
Yes,
And I do
shredded,
like seeing that
shredded.
because now she's faster in the ring, and I felt all the muscle was like messing with her agility when it came to like doing top.
But let me just ask you a quick
Yeah,
question, man. Jade Cargill, you think she's natty, or you think she's taking a little bit of that Anavar, bro? What do you think? 'Cause she's like
well,
freaking
she's a
chiseled, bro.
former like she played basketball in college. She did like all the she I think her one of her coaches was like part of the Shaq's coaching team. So I don't know. She's part of
Oh
that
wow.
kind of like that's her background when it comes to being athletic. She ran track, did the whole thing. So she's on that level of Bianca Belair or a little bit more. But if it was me, I would not say 100% natural. Something had to go down. But I wouldn't say
I feel
yeah.
like
But
she
her
took a
voice
little
hasn't
bit of that
changed.
Anavar, man.
Yeah,
But
it hasn't changed.
she's tough.
But regardless, that intro coming in, I thought she was gonna come in straight for Liv, but then the redirect, then like she changed directions and was like, okay, we're going after Liv Morgan. I mean, not we're not going with Liv Morgan, we're going with Naomi, and I was like, okay,
Naomi, yeah.
snap, like okay, so this is true. Um, and my thing was okay, if she attacked her, okay, Naomi's out, so I'm thinking who's gonna replace Naomi, but then we didn't get no replacement, so I'm like, okay, they're going on without anything. So just like you, I love everything. Even with Bianca whipping the crap out of Liv Morgan,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she
We're
was
gonna talk about that. I just
yeah.
want to cut you off real quick.
Go ahead.
I thought what they were gonna do, because this is kind of a cliche in WWE, and they do tend to follow a certain formula a lot of times. I thought Naomi was gonna be stretchered out, and then when there's like two people left, she's gonna be doing the run back in, or
Yeah,
like coming back, like holding her ribs or whatever, and making the return, because they do that a lot, where someone gets taken out in the beginning of the match, and then they make their way back, and they're like injured, but I'm tough, I'm the baby face, and I'm gonna go at it no matter what, Karate Kid style. So I thought they were gonna do that, and I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that this show wasn't predictable. That's one thing I gotta say in general with this show. It wasn't a super predictable show. Some finishes were predictable, like Bianca winning. I think that was predictable. Again, I don't keep up with the week to week product, but I know they wanted that match. They want her in WrestleMania in a prominent spot, so I knew they were going to give it to her. But with that being said, the match itself was not predictable, and there was a lot of stuff on the show that was not predictable. So
Yeah,
I like that because 99.9.5% of the time, WWE is really freaking predictable. So I like when they shake it up a little bit and they switch things up.
and and talking about following the product, like you said, like I tune in, for Raw, for SmackDown, NXT, all that stuff. I'm not tuning in like if that Sunday show, like Creating Legends and all that stuff. Like I see the commercials there, but I'm not gonna dedicate time to that. Especially now, it's pretty hard to even watch SmackDown. It's 3 hours, and then we got Raw 3 hours on Netflix. So it's just like I'm not trying to go that hard. I'll catch up on the weekends for that extra additional hour because at 10 I'm like I'm waking up 5 and we all hit the gym and everything. By 10 p.m. I'm already getting tired, honestly. So coming back to this match, for me it wasn't. I had my doubts on Bianca winning just because Alexa Bliss just came back. So since Alexa Bliss just came back at the Rumble, we're like, hey, maybe they want to put her in the title picture, with Rhea Ripley. But it is a better match when it comes to like if you put Bianca next to Rhea, like at the end of the match, you see her right there. That right there, you see their shoulders. You're like, okay, these are two Jack women that are gonna go in at WrestleMania. And for me, yeah, my thing was it was either Alexa, Bianca, and I gave a little percentage to uh what's her name? Perez was
Oh yeah, Perez.
yeah,
Yeah, she's the
yeah,
new girl. I didn't know who she
Roxanne Perez,
was.
just because it was
Yeah,
like she was coming at Bailey really hard on Raw week by week, and like they were building her up good. So
girl.
this
Can I ask you a question? Can I
yeah.
ask you a question? As somebody who watches the product regularly, and I don't mean to hate on anybody, but
Nah,
just
go right ahead.
like what do people see in Bailey? I know she's very popular. I know she was doing the hugger gimmick. Like I was watching back then when she was doing the hugger gimmick with the
Yeah,
little girl fans she had in the crowd and whatnot. And whatever, it was a cutesy little gimmick for kids. And then she turned heel, whatever. I personally don't see what's special about her. The announcers were saying how she's already had a Hall of Fame career and whatever. Maybe from a match perspective,
yeah,
maybe. But I don't know. Like she's been there what, like 8 years already, 9 years, and I feel like she can't cut a promo to save her life. Her look is crazy. I don't know what she's going for with her hair, with the little
yeah.
shaved zigzag Skrillex thing going on over there. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just coming off as a hater, but me personally, I don't see a superstar in Bailey, and I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion. But like everyone else in the ring, they look like they kind of fit. Even the new girl, Roxanne Perez,
Yeah,
she has like a little bit of that nasty attitude to her, a little bit of that
yeah,
sass.
yeah.
So like I can get behind that. That's interesting. Bailey, I don't
Um,
know. I just don't see it. I don't
it's
see what's special about her.
the thing I feel like that happened with Bailey. First of all, thank you Irish for subscribing to the channel. Didn't know. Wow, thank you. And then yeah, that guy's weird. He said
Yeah, this
predictable
dude,
hooker. Yeah,
my boy Sanchez is leaving some funny comments over here, man.
oh
I
my
don't know what
God,
he's
put
on
him in
about,
here.
but much love to you, bro. I'm,
Yeah, so
I'm getting a chuckle reading these comments, bro.
yeah, yeah. That's why I was laughing in between, but I wasn't. I'm trying to respect your time too. But look, when it comes to Bailey, loved her with the hugger stuff. When she turned heel, beautiful work. But then now it's just like I feel like that she's trying to find herself. Even when they put the title on her, you saw how fast they took it off her and gave it to Nia Jax, just because it was
Right,
like,
right.
okay, we got you for 3 months and you're not really picking up. Okay, time to drop it. And even after she won the Rumble and everything, it's like, you got the title, like what you're supposed to do. But again, it's like it's hard. Yeah, she didn't fit into the match. I would have replaced her with, if the U.S. title, if the Women's United States Championship title wasn't going to be defended, put Chelsea Green in there, have her flash her title, make it more obvious.
Chelsea Green, by the way,
Mhm.
again, I don't keep up with the weekly show, so I don't know if they're
Yeah.
actually pushing Chelsea or not. But I was
Mhm.
following Chelsea Green from the TNA days when she was part of the
Yeah.
Beautiful People because I was watching TNA from like '07, '08 ish until like
Yeah.
2014. During that time, I actually was not watching WWE at all, but I was watching TNA weekly. Up until
Yeah.
the Billy Corgan era, And then there was the whole drama with him and Dixie,
Yeah.
whatever. And then that's kind of when I stopped watching TNA. But I was a TNA soldier for a very long time, man. Like I really loved some of the stuff they did over there. And when she was with the beautiful people in TNA, she was doing amazing stuff. She's very into character work, and again, that's something that
Yeah.
intrigues me. And I don't know if they're really pushing her or not because again, I haven't kept up with it. I didn't even know they had a women's U.S. title. I just heard about that
Yeah,
like
they did
a
a
few days ago.
tournament. They did a tournament. She won it on when they bring. You see how Saturday night main event. That they bring it back. I think they only did like two shows. And they made it like a pay per view style for a Saturday event, but no promos, no nothing. It was just pure matches.
Yeah,
And then she got the title there. So she was the first ever the women's United States champion. And then on Raw, and she's on SmackDown. So on Raw, they have the first ever women's Intercontinental champion, which is her name is Lyra Valkyria. She's like basically an NXT kid brought up.
I know who she
Um,
is. Vince Russo. You know how Vince Russo
yeah,
mispronounces things
yeah.
all the time. He refers to her as Lyra Velcro every single
Yeah,
time, and it cracks me up.
yeah. He always gets me in stitches, especially when he does the
Oh
Coach
my
and Bro
god,
show every week
great
with the
show!
coach.
I love that
I was
show.
like, oh man. I don't know if you heard this week's, but they were like, like they were like shitting on WWE just because they were jacking up the prices on that. But uh, yeah, I don't want to get too much into that. But all right, so um, I
Yeah,
want you
let's
to
move
rate
on to the next match
this
because we've
match.
been we've been dwelling on this one for a while.
Yeah, the rate
Let's
on the
move on to the
women's
next.
match for the women's elimination chamber match. Was it trash? Was it mid? Or was it worth watching?
I liked it. I'm gonna be honest, man. I actually enjoyed almost every match on here. There was two matches that were like kind of but they weren't bad. There wasn't any like bad matches on this show. The match which we're gonna get to next, the next women's match, that
Yeah,
one fell a little flat for me, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. But there was nothing on the show that I genuinely hated, that I genuinely wanted to skip through. Which is, it's rare for me because, again, I'm not a big match guy. For me, it's very much about story and characters, but I feel like they told a lot of good stories through matches, which was interesting to me. But yeah, solid match. I don't know how to rank matches. I'm not into like,
no,
ranking them,
I'm
but
just saying,
thumbs
like,
up,
if you were
thumbs
to
up.
say, like, if somebody asked you, hey, you watched the women's elimination chamber match, is
Yeah,
it worth
watch it. Don't skip
watching?
it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth watching. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Exactly. All right. Yeah, same here. I wouldn't skip that one. So moving on to the second match that we did get for this Elimination Chamber pay per view. I'm not calling it PLE. So even though it's a premium supplement channel and it says premium live events, no, it's pay per views. I'm old school, just like Ace. So we had Tiffany Stratton, who is the women's WWE champion, believe it or not, was in NXT about a year and a half ago. That's crazy. Um, and then she teamed up with Canada's own Trish Stratus as the pay per view was taken in Canada, was taking place in Canada, and they did take on former champion Nia Jax, and I just want to call it how it is. Her stooge, Candice LeRae, just because it was like the moment her and Tiffany were together, she was like just trying to like mess up the whole thing. So what did you think about this tag team match? Like, cause
All right. So first of all, Candice LeRae. It's LeRae, right? Not LaRue. Candice LeRae.
yeah, you could say how her name like either
Yeah,
way, but
so Candice LeRae to me, and again, this goes back to not looking like a superstar. I very much believe that if you're in the WWE and they're the top dog, you got to look a certain way. People are going to say, "Oh, that's the Vince McMahon attitude," but you know what? Vince McMahon built an empire, so the guy knows a thing or two about building superstars. This chick to me looks super indie. She looks like somebody that they picked off of Ring of Honor. And I'm sure the ring work, whatever, is okay, but like to me, she doesn't look like a pro. She looks petite. She's very. I mean, Alexa Bliss is petite, but she still looks and presents herself like a star. This Candice LaRue girl, bro, she looks like she was picked off the street. Nothing against her personally. I'm just talking
so you're
about the
saying
show.
like she's like type CrossFit, right? Like a CrossFit style.
Yeah, but I don't, she just doesn't look like a star to me, man. She looks like like literally indie, like backyard wrestling. I don't see star power in her. Nia Jax is a star. Trish is a star. Tiffany Stratton is a star. Like she has a presence. All these girls have a presence. This girl did not. So, I'm sure for part of the storyline, she was with Nia Jax, and they were doing their whole thing. Again, I don't watch the weekly shows, but it was an okay match. If I were to rewatch the entire show the next day, I would probably skip over it. That's
Yeah,
probably the only match I would skip over. It was just weird to me, the placement. They put two female matches one after the other. It was just a bit of a weird, this was the quote unquote bathroom break match. I feel like they should have done the Zayn Owens match second and then done the female match so people can kind of go get a break after that Zayn Owens match, because that was an intense
yeah.
match. So the placement to me was weird, but I would give this one a thumbs middle. It wasn't like a bad match. It was cool seeing Trish in there, but whatever. It was a throwaway. I wasn't crazy about it.
For me, honestly, I feel like it was Let's Cater Canada match, kind of with just Trish there. Not knocking her at all. It's just she's already Hall of Famer. She's gonna be. I think she's part of the legends in the actual game. So
Yeah, she is.
yeah. So she had to come out of retirement, train, and actually, for me, when I'm trying to remember everything that happened in the match, but the thing that like stood out the most was like it was really practiced a lot. Like you like just by
Hmm.
eye contact, she was like, okay, she's jumping to the left, I gotta move to the right. It was like too choreographed. That's the best way to
Choreographed.
say,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know everything is fake. Like it's supposed to be a show kind of thing, like more of a theater thing for us. But regardless, like try to sell it, a little bit longer. Um, for me, I felt like they had to like hold Trish's hand in a certain way when it came to like doing tag team moves and also taking bumps. Just to make sure, because like they kind of treated her a little like she was like an elderly person. I know she's going up to the 50s, but come on, she's in the ring with you guys. She's taken bumps before. Like you can knock her out a little bit harder. Like Nia Jax did give her that headbutt outside. I was like, thank God something like really looked like it popped. Like I popped for that one for sure. But yeah, this match, yeah, I felt like Candice LeRae didn't do too much. It was more like Nia the the for that side, if anything. And then you had a little bit of Trish doing everything, but she was kind of slow as well. But regardless, I would give this a like I would say this match was kind of mid. But for the Canada crowd, I felt like it was a great match just to cater to them, give them somebody from Canada. Because unfortunately, Edge is in AEW, so he's not going to do anything for WWE.
Yeah, man, that's
That
crazy. I
would have
still
been
can't
more.
believe he jumped ship, man. That's still crazy to me. The two names to me that are the craziest that
Yeah,
jump ship to AEW, Daniel Bryan and Edge. Those are the two names where I'm like, how does WWE let those guys leave the company and go to the competition? I mean, Jericho also in a way, but Jericho wanted to do it, and it's a little different with Jericho. But yeah, Daniel Bryan and Edge, two names I never thought I'd see in AEW. It's pretty crazy.
yeah, and that's another thing too. It's like the thing I feel like when I heard the interview, it was like more of Edge just trying to do as much as he can for as long as he can, as he physically could, basically. And he was like, "Hey, my buddies FTR are over there." And they said, "Hey, Tony said I can have as many matches as I want." WWE is like, "Hey, we're gonna use you for the four major pay-per-views, or maybe even less, maybe like Mania and Rumble." And he was like, "Nope, I don't want it. I want more matches." So that's why he chose to go to AW. And I felt like that was the same thing when the Hardys left and went over there. When other people decided to join, and Moxie as well. But I feel like Moxie's career skyrocketed when he got when they started doing that Forbidden Door stuff for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It got him to hold that New Japan Pro Wrestling title. I forgot. I think it's the IWGP Championship title. But my point is, certain wrestlers that left the company, I did not expect them to leave. Um, and now that that roster was so filled up, like really nobody was able to do anything. But
Yeah.
yeah. So coming back to this match, yeah, it was kind of mid. I wouldn't like. I would skip over it. Great for Canada, but not great for somebody who's just trying to watch a fire pay per view.
Yep.
Um, so I'll move on to the next match, which is the which you did mention, and this was the unsanctioned match with Kevin Owens, and he took on his basically his best friend for over
Sami
30
Zayn,
years,
yeah.
Sami Zayn. Um, but before that, I want to say something that kind of bugged me from the Elimination Chamber. You remember throwback Elimination Chamber? They'll have the lights off and then it'll just flicker on the actual
Yes.
person. I was like, I wanted that, and I'm like, what
They didn't
happened
do that.
with that little? You hear more of a sound and then the little baby light. So I'm like,
It was very dim. I noticed that. It wasn't like they didn't put like a crazy emphasis. Which
oh,
one's it gonna be? Yeah, it bugged me also.
and I
Yes.
literally had to squint like, who's next? And then you hear it, and I'm like, okay, boom. So yeah, that was my thing. I was like, but whatever. All right. So what do you think about this unsanctioned match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? Was like,
All right, so here we go again with me talking about a wrestler's look, okay? And I hate to do this because I'm a fan of Sami Zayn. I like Sami Zayn. I know he's your average underdog character, but
yeah,
I like him. There's something about him that I do like. Here's the thing that drives me nuts, bro. My boy needs a shave and a cut ASAP because he looks homeless. It's not a good look. I remember the dude in freaking NXT. No, I'm telling you, like, you could have the long hair, but
yeah,
like take care of it. I used to have long hair, bro. My hair used to be longer than yours. I know
mhm,
how to take care of long hair.
yeah,
Sami Zayn looks like he freaking washes his hair with motor oil or something. It's
yeah.
greasy. It's frizzy. It looks terrible. And the beard, he looks homeless, bro. He looks homeless.
I
Look at
say
the
the
way he
exact
looked.
same thing. It's like I can't cheer him on, and this is like it goes back to everything. And I'm like, how can I root for Kevin Owens, who publicly says I drink soda every day? Like like because of his belly and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, and Sammy's just looking like the guy who I give $1 to in New York. Like if I walk down the
No,
street,
it's terrible, man. But
and especially
here's
when he
the
had that
thing.
military stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like one of those. I was like, oh my
No, and
god,
here's the thing also. Like you look at Kevin Owens, right? Kevin Owens also has a big beard now. Like when I used to watch, he had just like a little bit of scruff. The NXT days and his debut, Cena, like yeah, just like a very short trim beard. Now he has like this big beard, but you
yeah,
notice his hair is cut nicely. The beard is trimmed, so it's long, but it's neat. It's presentable.
yeah,
Sami Zayn, look, his beard looks like a bird nest, bro. I'm expecting a little bird to just like pop out of there. It looks terrible.
exactly.
And I like the guy. I'm a fan of Sami Zayn. I like his music, bro. I work out to his music. I freaking love the music. When he comes out, he's
Yeah,
high energy. He's the underdog. I like him. But can we bring back the Sami Zayn that actually looked presentable, like the late NXT, early WWE days, where he actually
yeah.
looked like he was groomed and freaking looked like a human being and not like a hobo? I mean, I see these hobos on the New York City subway every freaking day, man. He would fit right in.
And I like for me, I just can't understand why WWE would have him and Gunther's reign. That at WrestleMania, I was just like, why?
What a mistake that was. What a mistake that was.
So,
But
so
anyway, yeah,
with this match,
let's
like,
talk
what do
about
you
the
think?
actual.
Yeah, because I know it's like the looks just deface the whole character. Like it's just
I know, and again, some people are going to say, "Who cares about his look? It's his in-ring work that matters." Like again, to me, this is a show. It's entertainment. These are
yes,
characters. I view wrestlers the same as I do characters on a TV show. Because to me, it is a TV show. So you got to look presentable. And he did look presentable at a certain point. He looked very good. And I like his character. I like the underdog thing. It works well for him. He's good at it. But yeah. Anyway, hopefully he watches this video and gets the hint. Uh, but the
I'll
match
tag
itself
him
was
on it. I
good.
don't mind. I'll tag him. I'm like
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
with the smoke, man.
Probably gonna get blocked, bro. He's gonna block High-Stim Ace and Harry on Instagram.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but I like the match, man. The match was really good. It started a little bit slow, but they were focusing on building emotion in the ring within the match. So if you're talking about telling a story through a match, this would be a good example. And I know these guys have a back and forth going back, to the Ring of Honor days, man. Because like I remember in NXT when Owens turned on him, because I was watching NXT for maybe like 3-4 months. When they had Zayn over there, they had Owens, and like
I think
I forgot
Seth
who
was
else
just
was
coming
there.
on. Yeah, like it was like they had an all star team there with Seth and
Yeah, they had a good team. So I was watching it very briefly for like 3 months or so, and then I kind of fell out of it. But I remember when he did the turnbuckle power bomb at NXT, and I like that he did that here also because it was a little bit of a throwback to those people that did watch it back
yeah.
then, and it actually was like a little bit mirroring what went down. So I thought that was really cool. I like the match. You know, they went in the crowd, they had their little fight in the crowd. It was well done. There was a lot of back and forth. And I like the fact that Owens won because you can't always have the good guy win. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of drama and have a little bit of long term storytelling. So I'm assuming they're going to stretch this out to WrestleMania, right? I think that's what's going to happen here.
Most likely, yeah, just to get the payoff.
But what are you going to do? What are you going to do to top an unsanctioned match? What are you going to do? Like freaking Texas Bull Rope match? What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's pretty hard. Like for me, what I would say about this, and this is just like me looking at all promotions that had unsanctioned matches before. And I'm gonna have to refer to AEW because they had two of them, like recently in the last couple years. The first one was like a female one, and then the second one, I think Moxley was on it with was of somebody else. But my point is the style that it was done. Like, first of all, if it's an unsanctioned match, it's gonna be detached from the company. Like the way I've seen it done in the other promotion, they'll run the whole pay per view right at the end. Announcer comes out, hey, um, the next match is an unsanctioned match. The lights will be turned off. They'll be turned back on. Each wrestler will come out, but the company AEW will not have anything to do with whatever happens, and then they'll go crazy with the weapons and thumbtacks, whatever. Go into the crowd, go out, go into the parking lot, use the entire building, drive a truck, whatever it is. So I was expecting something like that because I'm like, this is the same company that gave us, Stone Cold on a Zamboni,
Oh yeah,
stuff like that. So I'm like, okay. And one of my favorite things is like, Undertaker, his whole like throwing the thunder, doing the whole, making everything go on fire just by a thunderbolt. So kind of something like, okay, it's unsanctioned. I want you to be like at least near the end. So then, okay, your match will get that pop because it's like you go right after. It'll be the third match of the night, and for me, I couldn't look at it in the sense of like, hey, I wanted to see this match because it was like I've seen the best match that Sammy and Kevin Owens had, and it was in NXT. It wasn't here. It was right when I believe Kevin Owens like power bombed Sammy right at the edge of the ring. So like his back,
I think I actually watched that
yeah.
match. I mean,
And
it
I
was a
think he did it
while
like
back, but I think I
three or
watched
four
it.
times or something. Like they really went in and sold that match. So I'm like, I was expecting something at that level, but with weapons and all that stuff. We did get the barbed wire chair, which I did like because that's something that WWE hasn't
Bro,
been used.
can I say one thing, man? Can I say
Go
one
ahead.
thing? And I understand why they can't do it in this day and age, but man, do I miss chair shots to the head. It just hits so differently, bro. No pun intended.
Yeah,
I know it's dangerous. I know CTE,
yeah,
concussions. I get all that, but sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I'll just watch like a compilation of unprotected chair shots to the head, and like I enjoy the brutality, but I also kind of cringe because it's like I can't believe that when I was a kid I was watching this on TV weekly and this stuff was going on regularly. Like like bro, they're getting hit on the head unprotected.
yeah,
It's freaking nuts. But it adds a little bit of something, man. You get that boom chair shot to the head,
and
no hands up, nothing, straight to the
yeah.
head. There's something to it, man. I don't know if it's that brutality, but it's crazy. So when in this day and age where they do the chair to the stomach and then they hit the back, it's like okay, I get it. Yeah, he's hitting his back, whatever. It doesn't hit quite the same. I
Because
know they can't do it anymore. I know CTE
yeah,
and all that. I get it, but I'm just saying the good old days, man. Freaking chair shots to the head. That shit was crazy.
and the other thing too is like them doing like you have to like sell it like in the sense of like okay we're not doing headshots but we're like at least something around the neck or like how it depends on the wrestler honestly because if some are waiting for it, they're kind of like looking up. I'm like, bro, you just got hit in the back. You're gonna get hit again or something. Just count in your
Yeah.
mind. Don't look up. Then I'm like, okay, now I know the next one is coming up. But regardless, it's like I couldn't get behind Sammy at all when it came to that. I felt like Kevin Owens had a win. Love the finish. Love Randy Orton coming out. That was
Oh man, talk about someone who looks and feels like a superstar, man. Wow, Randy Orton, he has a presence, and again,
yeah,
this goes back to the old school generation, late '90s, early 2000s. I mean, I remember Randy when he was coming up, when he joined Evolution, man, he was a kid. He had a full head of hair. He
yeah,
didn't even have the full sleeve of tattoos yet. Like I remember those days early on Evolution. Those were good times. But Randy is a star. Listen, the guy comes out. He has a presence about him. It's the last of a dying breed. You look at this generation, and you got Roman Reigns, which I guess Roman would have that presence. Seth, I'm kind of iffy on Seth. Like he's a top guy. I'll give him his dues. I'll give
yeah.
him his
But he just
props. But
dresses
he's
like
not.
a
He's not on that level.
yeah.
He's
I
not on that
don't
level to
yeah
me.
yeah. The way he's dressing is just horrible. I'm like
Oh man, well, yeah. Well, let's talk about that when that comes up because I have a lot to say about that too.
yeah
I'm very opinionated about that stuff.
yeah.
But no,
So
but it was a good match overall. I thought it was cool that the heel won. Being Owens, and we'll see where this goes. I thought it was a well done match. Maybe a little bit too dragged out. Maybe I could have shaved 5 6 minutes off of it because there was points it was lagging. But it was a
yeah
good match overall, and they both are very good at selling. So I got to give them their props. Sammy especially, he's very good at selling. So, and again, it goes back to his whole underdog character.
yeah.
It works well for him. He's good with that.
For me, I would say I would agree when it came to the stops. It was like a lot of stops. These guys are not like really big or jacked for them to be like, hey, I need to slow down for a little bit to catch my breath. No, like you guys were just wrestling a couple weeks ago. But regardless, I like the finish, and I did like Randy Orton coming out, and like I always say, like I'm always observant. Saw him come back. He looks more shredded. Lost like probably like 20 pounds because he
Yeah, he
came
looked
back.
great.
Before this, he was like super jacked. I think he was like almost at like 290, 295
I
with his
saw I saw that video on YouTube. I saw that video on
and I
YouTube.
was
The dude
like,
was
dang.
jacked.
And the thing that like was like the cherry on top was we almost got the punt from the legend killer Randy Orton right on Kevin Owens' head, but then he just like slipped out. So I was like, oh
It never. I was literally watching the pay per view with my girl,
yeah,
and we're watching that part, and I told her, I'm like, it's not gonna happen. Either he's gonna miss, he's gonna slide out, or someone's gonna stop him. I said that, and literally 5 seconds later, everyone comes in because the punt it always either misses or they stop it. I already know.
yeah,
Again, it goes back to the predictability factor. And if you watch wrestling for a long time, you go back the way we do to the '90s.
yeah,
You know the patterns with WWE. It may be a modern day, but they still go to that. Bro, can I say one thing? I
yeah,
completely forgot to mention this at the top of the show, man. And this to me was like a very big deal. So, when we were coming up and we were watching wrestling, they always had rock
yeah,
themes, right, for the shows. And it got you hyped up, whether it was like Breaking Benjamin or 3 Days Grace. They used to use a lot of that alternative
yeah,
2000s rock music. But to me, I always associate wrestling with rock. And I hate the modern era of them using hip hop. To me, it just doesn't work. I don't know. Hip hop doesn't get me pumped up. Like I'll listen once in a blue moon to hip hop, but with wrestling, I need rock, I need metal, I need something. It hits different.
yeah,
So I know the theme they had wasn't really like a metal theme, but there was guitar in there. They had a chick singing. I don't know who did the theme. I didn't really look into it, but it was rock. And just hearing the guitar and actual singing instead of just mumble rapping, to
yeah.
me, that just kind of put me in the headspace of like, all right, I'm pumped up right now. I'm excited for this show.
Yeah,
Thoughts
and
on
Travis Scott, he
what?
did the
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Travis Scott because I
yeah
don't
at
know
the
why the
end, but
hell they had that pothead come out there because the
yes,
dude
but
looked
since
high as a kite.
yeah,
But we're
since
gonna
you
talk
bring it
about
out,
that.
I'm like, first of all, you do not give a rapper who did not even enter the ring the hardcore championship title. That's like a spin in the face to Mick Foley. That's one.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I was very confused
He
with that.
hasn't even defended it, and he's been having it for like over a year. Doesn't make sense to me. Number two, um, he's not part of WWE. Never was in like he was just front row a couple times, and he now is making the song for I think it was the Rock's entrance to the Elimination Chamber, and
Oh, is that what it is?
I think yeah, that was a song that you kept hearing. I'm like, is
Ah,
all
okay.
all
So
that?
now at least I know why he was there because I had no idea. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that
but he
was
was
him
just
doing
out of
that
it.
part.
I don't even know what he was drinking. Was it like beer or something? It was like
Guy was high as a kite, bro. As a former pothead of 11 years, I will tell you that guy was high as a kite. He probably had a blunt to the face before making his way out there. The dude was
yeah.
cracked out of his mind.
So for me, I'm like, I don't want to go too in depth, but it's just like, don't do that. Like that's and like that leads into what you were saying when it comes to the music. I get it. Like the moment I hear, like that, I forgot the name of the song, but like Chris Benoit song, like that rock is affiliated with Chris Benoit no matter what. Like even if you see the band live, I think they just played it. The other day, like after 20 years, they never played it because of what happened. But it always sticks to me. Like the moment I hear the first couple seconds, okay, that's wrestling. That's affiliated with Chris Benoit. Like for me, and I know people are gonna be like, "Hey, you love Chris Benoit." I'm like, I love the wrestler Chris Benoit, not the person. Just
Yeah,
so
for sure.
people could be like, but we're talking about music and theme songs, and honestly, yeah, I get it. For me, like I grew up with a lot of hip hop, and I listen to rock as well. But when it comes to wrestling, I don't know. It's just the rock aspect of it, hits good. But I know other wrestlers back in the day they did have like nice hip hop songs, but they were like more hyped up. Like D'Lo Brown's entrance that was good. Mark
Yeah, yeah.
Henry's entrance that was another one. It was like a nice like loud hip hop style. You could
But
pop your
that
headphones.
fit their character. Those
Yeah,
were specifically for those characters. When
yeah,
you talk about an overall wrestling
pay per view.
presentation,
Yeah,
like a theme, I want some rock, man. I want some guitars. It doesn't even have to be growling. You don't have to be screaming, but just a little bit of guitar, some riffs. Give me a solo in there. God damn. Like I know that hip hop is in right now. Everyone on TikTok's into hip hop, and they're trying to get the young people. I get all that, but come on, throw some bone once in a while. So,
and
with
hip
that
hop
being
is
said,
not the
I
same
did
like
like it.
before. Everybody's sampling everything, and it's just mumble here and like today, even today in the gym, like I was listening to the gym music because I didn't bring my headphones because I was with my brother, and there was a girl singing the chorus, and it was like a Method Man song from like back in the day, and I'm like, how is this allowed? Like, how are you word for word saying
They're
this?
doing that a lot now. Even
Yeah,
with I listen to a lot of like dance music and a lot of trance
yeah,
music. I'm into electronic, into a little bit of techno. A lot of artists today are sampling stuff from the '90s. You know the song "I'm Blue"
yeah,
from Eiffel 65.
yeah.
So Dave Guetta, who's super guilty of sampling songs, he did his own version. It's called "I'm Good," right? And that's like a popular song, but no one's even going to talk about the original one. You had that song from ATC in the '90s. I forgot the name of the song, but it was a really popular one, and they sampled that
Yeah.
one as well. They're just whatever.
For
It is what
me,
it is.
I
But
would have got like somebody like Will I Am, because Will I Am is more like dance and like you can lean into rap or rock,
a
even in
little bit
his
of a hybrid.
versions.
Yeah, yeah.
But he does at least it gives you a nice feel for a pay per view. Um, you know, Regardless of the fact
I lost your audio. Can't hear you.
that you
There
can
we
hear.
go. Yeah, you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, there was an amber alert in my area, so my phone was
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
All right.
They're very, very serious. It was like they even put the plates and everything. Yeah,
Oh, damn.
that's something alarming. Regardless, yeah.
Uh,
So I agree with you 100%. The music should have been a little bit more rock.
but I liked it.
You
I was
can't really
happy with
call
it. It
it
was a chick
dancing
singing, but
anymore.
it had a little bit of guitar. I was okay with it.
Yeah. And when I heard like, hey, we're gonna get Travis Scott, I was like, "Ugh, I like your sneakers, but I don't like nothing else about you, man." Like, all right. So let's move on to the fourth match, which was the men's elimination chamber match, and the Cody and Rock segment since it came right after. I was like, we're gonna go. That will be at the end.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Um, and this number one contenders match, we had Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Damian Priest, and then John Cena. Like who? What?
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what to say anymore. Like is like what he's going by anymore. Like, but regardless, John Cena. The last time is now. I guess that's the only thing we can say for now about him. So what are your thoughts about this match? Like,
All right, I'm gonna address the big elephant in the room, and here we go. High-Stim Ace once again going off on a tangent, talking about a male performance looks. Okay, but I'm gonna talk about it. John Cena's got to get a hair transplant, bro. It's very noticeable. It looks really bad. And I'm saying this as somebody who is thinning a little bit up top. It's not really
nah,
like super noticeable, but I am thinning a little bit up
yeah.
top.
Mhm.
But it's not like on that level, not even close. Okay. So the guy is a multi-millionaire. It's bad. It looks really, it's a distraction. Me and my girl were watching it, and like literally every scene where the hair started splitting, because his hair is a little bit longer now. So like when
Yeah,
it does the split and the whole thing here is bald, my boy, he's got to book a trip to Turkey, and he's got to get that done, man. He's got the money, and he's got to do it. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to dwell on it. Okay, so I just had to put that out there. I love this match. I thought it was one of the better matches in the
yeah,
last couple of years. I think all the performers did a great job. I'm a big fan of Logan Paul. It's funny. I wasn't a fan of his beforehand because I really didn't follow his YouTube. I still don't. But
yeah,
I know that he was popular because of YouTube, and there was a little bit of controversy with him at times, but he's really grown on me. First of all, the guy can really work. He's naturally talented, and he's entertaining. He's such a natural heel because he's such a douchebag, and you want to hate on him, but
yeah.
he does it well. Like, it's the little things, okay? So it's the Canadian crowd. They booed the U.S. national anthem. We're
Mhm.
not going to get into that, but they did boo the
Yeah,
national anthem. So what does he do? He goes, he grabs the American flag, and he marches out with the American flag. It's these little things, but it makes a big difference in a character. And somebody like me who's a character driven kind of guy, just doing something as simple as that really makes all the difference. So I'm a big fan of Logan Paul. I love the guy. I think he's brilliant. Not a big fan of his brother, but I do like Logan Paul a lot. Then you had also, yeah, Drew McIntyre.
mhm.
Been following that guy's career for a long time, even when he was in TNA
Yeah.
as
That
Drew
was a good run.
Galloway.
Good
Yeah,
run.
he was great. He had that match with Kurt Angle. I remember, when Angle was on his retirement tour. And in general, he was carrying TNA for a little while. I also saw him in person. I'm in New York City. So
Yeah.
in Queens, they have this indie promotion called House of Glory, which is actually a pretty popular promotion, as
Is
far as like an
Tommy
independent
Dreamer,
promotion
right? He
goes.
runs that one, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Yeah,
So
I
I
remember.
went to I went to one of their shows years ago, years ago. But he was there as Drew Galloway, and listen, I'm 6'4". I'm a big guy. This dude was towering over me. I was literally standing by the entrance where the wrestlers come in. So literally, like the guy was a few feet away from me. He's huge. All
Yeah,
right, the guy's built. He's like 6'6", 6'7". The guy is freaking huge. Talk about a superstar, man. So I'm
yeah,
always going to be a fan of Galloway's. I think he's a great in ring worker, but really, the guy just has the look. And I kind of wish they did more with him. I feel like they really screw him over. Every time the guy needs a win, they kind of have him take the L because they're assuming he's so good that he's just going to stay over. But I do wish they would throw a bone his way once in a while. Maybe this wasn't the match for it. I wasn't expecting him to win, but I hope they do something with him because the guy really needs to be a prominent player at the top of
yeah.
the promotion. He's really good.
Uh, so all right. So you spoke about Drew, and
Logan
Logan
Paul,
Paul.
right?
What about Damian Priest? What are your
I
thoughts?
like I like Damian Priest, but I'm a big fan of Priest. I feel like they should have gotten him away from the Judgment Day long time ago. That dude should have split a long time ago. I don't
Yeah,
know why they waited. I feel like it kind of hurt his character that they waited so long because they were dragging him down. They were dragging him down. He's got the look, and I know a little bit about his history. He's from my backyard, Hell's Kitchen, New York. The guy was
yeah,
homeless, and look at him now. He's a freaking superstar. So to me, that's motivational. He's tough. He's got the look. A little bit of that Undertaker vibe going there, minus the supernatural stuff. So I like Priest. Again, I wasn't expecting him to win. I knew it was either going to be Punk or Cena. It had to be one of the two. I was rooting for Punk, you know. I may not agree with him politically on stuff, but I'm still a fan of his. And I don't know what they're going to do with him now, because from what I understood, a big condition for him returning to WWE was eventually getting that WrestleMania main event spot, because that's the only thing he hasn't accomplished was main eventing WrestleMania. And he deserves it. Listen, the guy's amazing. He
Yeah.
deserves it. I'm a big fan of CM Punk. So I don't know, where does that leave him right now? I really thought he was going to win, or at least him and Cena would kind of be tied in a way where it would be a triple threat match. But I don't know. I guess they're going with the Cena storyline, which, it is a good storyline. We're going to talk about it as soon as we get to it. But
There
I
is
kind of
one
feel bad
thing
for
that I have
Punk.
to interrupt you on, just because it's like, it's like poking me. The reason for, like, I don't know if you remember the previous Survivor Series that we just had, which was the new bloodline, or everybody calls them the Timu bloodline versus the OTC, the original.
So I actually didn't watch that one. I
All
heard
right,
about it, but I didn't
so
watch that show.
basically, they were down a man, and they needed a fifth man to help them, which was Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman. And we all know CM Punk was a Paul Heyman guy before Roman Reigns. So basically, Punk did Paul Heyman a favor, and now Heyman owes him a favor. So that hasn't been paid
Oh.
out yet. So that is the only reason, like, a lot of people weren't flipping out that Punk didn't win, because he still has that favor. And if he would want to, he can ask for the favor and make that match with Cody a triple threat match. You get me? So you get that main
That's
with
that's
it,
interesting. I,
but
I, I like that, but sorry to cut you off. We're just
not go
cutting
right
each
ahead.
other off. But thoughts bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
If he were to cash in that favor, me personally, because
Mhm.
you already have the Rock and Cody story, and I love it. I love where they're going with it. I wouldn't want to throw Punk in there, because I think that this is a good story. It goes back to last year, Cody with the Rock, final boss clashing. This is kind of like a sequel to that. So I feel like throwing Punk in there would not only mess the synergy of that match, but it would hurt Punk, because the spotlight wouldn't be on him. Everyone's going to be talking about Cena turning heel after 23 years, So I feel
Yeah.
like
So
that wouldn't be good for Punk. What I would do is have Punk join in the Gunther Jay Uso match, because if I'm being honest, bro, that match I'm not interested in. I'm not. No hate against Jey Uso. He's a good mid card talent. I do not view him as a main event superstar. I'm sorry. I know he's main event Jey Uso. To me, he's always going to be one half of the tag team champions, and he's good. He's talented. I don't see him as that next level guy. I don't see him carrying the company on his back. I don't. So
yeah,
people are going to disagree with me, but I feel like if you take Punk and if you throw Punk into that match, you make that a triple threat match, it's going to add a little bit of intrigue to that match. He doesn't have to win. You could still have Jey Uso win if you're really that set on having him be the champion, but at least have Punk in that main event. I think that would be good.
yeah, because that was like the big, like, what's next, like, scenario, in the sense of, okay, we got Gunther and Jay, but what will happen next? Like, who would be his first title defense? Because, like, you can't have him run Gunther back to back. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you're building too much, then you get the payout, and then you're like, we're running it back. Like, we just saw that happen with Rhea and Liv. They ran it back for like 3 or 4 times. And I
Hmm.
believe in Belgium. It was like, I was so tired of it, that in this pay per view, I was like, if Liv wins, I'm just gonna not even watch the rest of the pay per view, because I'm like, if they're giving her this win, I can't imagine who's gonna win the next couple matches. I was like that invested into who was gonna win, just because I was following pay per view by pay per view, not even just regular shows. It's just, if you follow it, you're like, I got this match 4 times in a row. Like, I don't want this no more. So my thing
Hmm.
was, coming back to that. That would be a great way for Jay. If he wins the title, okay, let Punk won't even have to get pinned either. That's the good thing about triple threat.
Hmm.
So he's like, hey, I haven't got pinned, so then you could get him at the next pay per view, and then they can do a back and forth, maybe 2 out of 3, whatever. and that would be a good segue out of Mania. But coming back to that, so you wanted Punk to actually win or Cena to win, right?
Yeah,
But
I was
Seth,
rooting. I
you
was
like
rooting
Seth
for
over
either one of
Rollins?
them.
No, Seth over
Nah,
Rollins.
nah. Seth already has enough title reigns. He doesn't need it, and the guy looks like a freaking clown, man. He's a goof. I don't know what the hell he's doing, bro. He looked like a freaking like Cyclops from the X-Men yesterday with the
Yeah.
shades he was wearing.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of it because they never explained it. If you look at like Macho Man, Randy Savage, right? He used to dress very flamboyant and theatrical and over the top, and that was kind of part of his character. With Seth, it was never his character until then. One day, him and Becky just started cosplaying, and that just became a thing. Like one week, they just come out dressed ridiculous, separately,
Yeah.
and that just kind of became a thing. But there was never like a storyline purpose, like what? Like here, let me give you an example in TNA with Matt Hardy, Broken Matt Hardy,
Yeah.
right? He didn't just go from looking like normal big money Matt to Broken Matt Hardy. They had a few weeks of vignettes where he was kind of losing his mind, and then suddenly the guy looks like a lunatic. He's got the crazy hair, the eccentric clothes.
And
They
then the
built
white
up to it. There
streak,
was
the white streak on his
Yeah,
head,
they
added.
built up to it. So with Seth Rollins, they never did anything like that. It wasn't like the guy went through some trauma, he lost his mind, and then he just started wearing these crazy clothes or whatever. Like one day he just comes out with it, and like, okay, that's his new thing. He's Seth freaking Rollins, and he cosplays like somebody from Comic Con. Like I don't know, man. I feel like they don't put in the effort because WWE expects their fans to watch no matter what because
Yeah.
we're kind of conditioned to watch, and it pisses me off that they don't put in this extra little bit of effort because a little bit of effort goes a long way. For somebody like me who's a casual, if I saw that they actually did put in this effort on a weekly or at least on a monthly basis, maybe I would tune into the weekly shows. But I know that they go ham during WrestleMania season and then it's back to the status quo. They're just going to be autopiloting the show until next WrestleMania season. So, like, it sucks because I enjoy watching wrestling and I really wish I could be into it as regular, but like it's just not worth my time. They don't put in the effort. They don't care about my time. Then why should I watch the product? I'll just watch highlights on YouTube and I'll just watch the big pay-per-views. It is what it is.
Yeah. So after giving a breakdown of everybody who was in this match and your thoughts on their like how they were looking and everything, and what they brought to the match, what was your overall thoughts on the match? What like did it go too fast? Was it well played? The spots were perfect. Like what? Like for you, this match was worth watching 110%, and should have.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I,
yeah.
I really I really enjoyed it. I thought the pacing was good. So like I said earlier, the Owens and Zayn, I felt like that dragged a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
This one here did not. This one actually went, I think, for the perfect amount of time. The spots were good. It was clean. There wasn't really any botches that I noticed. It wasn't like sloppy or anything. It was well done. They had good synergy. Even
Yeah,
the little things like when Punk was in his cage or whatever pod, and
yeah.
then Drew McIntyre would like get in his face, and then there was another part. I forgot who was knocking on Logan Paul's. Who was it that was knocking on Logan Paul's pod? There was someone who
I think it
I
was
forgot
like
who was doing it.
McIntyre. McIntyre.
It was also McIntyre, right? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. Okay. So
yeah.
it's these little interactions, like it wasn't just six random people thrown in there and just fight it out. There was a little bit of personal story between a lot of the competitors and a
Mhm.
lot of little feuds going on in there. And I like that again because it gets you emotionally invested. If you're just watching six random guys go in a pod and they're fighting and the winner just gets the title shot, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me. I need there to be a little bit of drama. It's people used to refer to wrestling as the male soap opera, and to a certain extent, it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Storytelling is important. So the fact that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre have their little beef, but then Punk also has beef with Seth Rollins, so he has to watch his back twice as
yeah,
much. That's intriguing to me. And Cena goes in and he plays the baby face the entire match, only to fool everybody and do that crazy heel turn in the end. Seth Rollins screwed over Punk, and Cena
yeah,
took advantage.
yeah,
And even though he won by taking advantage, he still played the baby face up until the final confrontation. You
yeah.
know.
And I got my boy Rat just came on. He's another New Yorker. He's up there in Washington Heights. Oh, well, I don't know
Okay,
the
all right.
area,
I'm in
but he's
Brooklyn.
from there. I think now he's in Jersey, if I'm correct. But he's been all over. But Thanks for joining, man. And we're just talking about everything that happened last night. Yeah, and that for me, are you done, Ace? Because I don't, I don't want to cut you off and go into my
No, no, go ahead, man. That's my thoughts, man. We're gonna talk about the final segment. Just give your thoughts on the match, and then we'll go into the actual final
um
segment, the true
for
finale.
me, I agree with you. The match was perfect, in the sense of like everybody, there was a story with every single person in there. For me, Logan Paul is like the person you love to hate. He has like
Yes.
that Dominic vibe, Dominic Mysterio vibe. He's like right under Dominic. If I were you, like if I were comparing it, like in the sense of like he was trying to cut a promo on SmackDown, they were not letting him speak at all. Like at
Who,
all.
Logan or Dom?
Logan, because Logan, this is how it irks you to like what Logan does. Like um on SmackDown, right towards the end when everybody's cutting their promo, John Cena's music hits. And everybody's like, John Cena's not coming out into the chamber, right? And they're like, oh snap, we're getting this treat, right? On SmackDown, and Logan Paul walks out with John Cena's music playing. I'm like, the best heel
That's
move
great.
ever. And then he laughs at everybody and he's like, ha, I got every single one of you standing up on your seats. And then everybody just sat down. As soon as he said, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like,
he's
that has
so
been
he's so
Logan.
good at playing that douchebag heel, and like a cocky
Exactly.
douchebag heel. I
Yeah.
love that character. It's kind
And
of very reminiscent to sorry to cut you off. It's very
go
reminiscent to
ahead.
me of The Miz, which by the way I'm a huge fan of The Miz. I
Yeah.
know he's another one that people love to hate, but again, these are heels that you love to hate. You don't hate them because you genuinely hate them.
Yeah.
You love to hate them. They're that good. I think The Miz is one of the all-time greats from the modern era. And Logan Paul is very similar. He also kind of dresses like him. His ring attire is also kind of similar to the Miz's. He's got the
Yes.
headband and like the long robe. They were
Yeah.
together for a little bit, right? When he debuted, I think they were together for a bit.
I'm not sure, but I can't remember honestly, because Logan Paul was like in and out a lot.
Yeah, yeah, he's a part timer.
So at first he was a part timer. I think now he's like full time. Like he signed a like 5 or like a 5 year contract with WWE and like cut all his other like engaged like anything that he has going. Like he cut ties or finished off before signing the contract. That was the new deal that he did with WWE. But I will say, what sold me, like the match that sold me on Logan Paul, because at the beginning I'm like, oh, this is this YouTube guy, or this like we're gonna have like a another Bad Bunny thing, like he's gonna go wrestle a little bit and then leave. But he's YouTube. But then after he fought Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia, that match I was like, that's it, I'm sold. And he broke both ACLs in that match, and he still finished. So I was like, you're that's it. Like you're at the top of my list for heels and somebody who I want to see return. And he came back and he was like, okay, 100%. Let's go. Let's see who's next. So I was like, oh wow, that is something that you can't take away from anybody. Like it's either you're passionate about it or you're not. And when it came down to it, I felt like he was a perfect person to go in there and just bring the heat. And then, like, if we move on to heels, then we got Drew. He's playing his heel act perfect in the Elimination Chamber, and he did have since he did have beef with Punk at the Hell in the Cell. To end their beef after I think it was like 3 matches at each pay per view. That was something that a storyline that you could go back to. But also, Drew has issues with Damian Priest because Drew beat Seth for the world title. He was still beefing with Punk, but that was like I think when Punk was injured with the arm, and then Damian
Yeah, yeah.
Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank on Drew at
Right, right.
Mania,
I
so
forgot
he
about
only
that.
had the belt for he didn't even hold it. He just was champion for a couple minutes, and then he got cashed in on. So it was like a storyline that could bring back that hatred, why Drew hates this person or like why they hate each other. And then it's like, for me, I love the beef that they have, like CM Punk and Seth. It was like student with master kind of thing, especially as when Steph was coming up. Punk was at the peak of Ring of Honor. He trained them, so it was like a whole bunch of like storylines that were intertwined. Even though Logan Paul really wasn't fitting in 100% with everybody, but they kind of like slowly worked them in like the last 2 months just to like just talk smack because he just dropped the U.S. title um, to this guy LA Knight after defending it like
Oh,
for
I know who Eli Drake, bro.
yeah
Eli Drake, TNA man. He was freaking amazing in TNA.
yeah and I think when he was in before was it before TNA or when he was in NWA. Paul Bearer was no, that was way before. I think it was like NWA time. Yeah, when he was just coming up, Paul Bearer was his manager, which was something.
Paul Bearer, Kane's
Yeah,
manager.
Kane and Undertaker. Yeah, after he left WWE, he was just doing like indie stuff, and he was
Wow,
LA Knight's former manager, which was something I
I
was
did
like,
not know that.
yeah, I didn't know it either. I found it on like Instagram reel like 2 days ago because
Wow.
I guess everything was like building for the pay per view, and they were just like, "Hey, more info for you guys. You like wrestling?" But yeah, that was like for me. I loved how everybody's storylines were intertwining, and the payoff was awesome. At the end, you had Cena and Punk, and a lot of people online, like especially today, they were doing like side by sides of previous pay per views, and like they were like doing move by move. Like they know each other so well that they were like, hey, it's repeating the same. Like he was gonna do the five knuckle shuffle, and then he blocked it, and then he just threw him in the corner, ran up, hit him with the knee, and they was like, "Oh, he did that in 2001. He did that in 2010." I was like, "Okay, so we got something cooking." But yeah, that payoff was awesome with John Cena, just because it's the last go for him. And for me, I felt like John Cena played it well throughout the years. Especially as he transitioned. From I think he was the cyborg John Cena, like first came out
Yeah, yeah,
right in front of Angle. Then he did the whole word life thing with the
that
chain
was great.
gang rap,
Those were
and
good
then
times.
yeah, and what got me so like invested in him was like, can we get this heel turn sometime within the next 10 months while you're here? Because there's a whole album that he did that he was turning heel, and he had like
Mm.
everything played off in the sense of like he was gonna slack on certain things, like show up to work late, start his matches late, not care, to win clean. It was like a whole mental like change aside from his outfit, everything. It was like, and it was all just pushed aside because they were like, it's not best for business. Like you're
Yeah,
selling
yeah.
more merch as a good guy than a heel.
Well, now they have Cody Rhodes. Cody is the top baby face right now, so I guess now is a good time to do it. You have the original big baby face from the last 2 decades going
Mhm.
up against the modern. I guess you could call him the modern day John Cena. He really fits the
Yeah,
role, clean cut. Good looking, young. Charismatic. He's come a long way, man. Honestly, like I was not a fan of his back in the Stardust days, and then when he went to AEW. I was only watching AEW for a couple of months before I fell out of it, but I was never a big fan of his. Like just whatever. I always saw him as a mid carder, but he came into his own, man. I gotta give him his props. He got my respect. I forgot which pay per view it wasn't, but when he had the torn pec, bro, and he came out and his whole shoulder
okay,
and
it
pec
was
was
a
like,
Hell in a Cell match versus Seth. That wasn't.
bro, the dude came out with his whole pec black and blue and red and every other color in there. It was crazy. And he
Yeah,
wrestled the whole match. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? He's no longer a kid. He's a full fledged wrestler. He's got my respect. And listen, he's a good baby face. He is a good classic baby face because a lot of times when it comes to those clean cut baby faces, a lot of
yeah,
people are going to say, oh, they're too vanilla. They're too boring. And they turn on them. Like they turned on Cena. They turned on Roman. They turn on every baby face because it's like it's a boring thing. You're doing the same thing. You're just sucking up to the crowd. You're the good guy. And the fact that Cody's there already, holding the belt for a year and they
yeah,
haven't turned on him, I think it speaks volumes to the fact that he is the guy to carry the torch for the next couple of years. I see it. He's
yeah.
a
And
very good baby
talking
face.
about that, there, like, I agree with this comment from Iris because you see that the crowd was booing USA. as soon as Cena entered,
Yeah.
you know that was a like a great a great pop, even though it was a bad turning heel, but he was like, okay, we're doing this out of the U.S. and we're making him turn heel outside of the country, and then I don't even know how Raw's gonna look for Monday. Like, how is it gonna be? Because John Cena's basically got a pass to go Raw, SmackDown. Same thing with Cody, as they're heading into WrestleMania, so champions are like
Yeah,
getting the belt.
I might actually have to tune into Raw. I might have to tune in. But
All I'm
here's the
saying is
thing with
take a strong pre-workout because it's a 3-hour show.
oh God. Yeah, man. I might have to tune in. We'll see. We'll see.
It
The
depends
problem
too.
is that with
You don't know if they're
their
gonna do it at the beginning, middle, or at the end of the show. That's the thing that bothers me as well. So it's like, ugh.
yeah,
But
man.
talking about the heel part. All right, so final match. We got John Cena winning. Chamber goes up in the air. We get Cody's music. Cody comes out. What are your thoughts when Cody and John Cena are in the ring before even The Rock comes out? Like, what did you think of them meeting together and just like you're already getting that vision of WrestleMania?
So I knew that obviously Cody's not going to side with The Rock. I didn't actually watch the promo, The Rock promo with "I Want Your Soul." I didn't actually watch that promo, but I did. I did listen to the Raw review with Vince Russo on Sportskeeda, and they spoke about it in length. So I pretty much understood what's going on story wise. Um, Obviously, he's not going to go to The Rock. I kind of predicted he's going to say, literally almost word for word. I was telling her he's gonna say, "I sold my soul to the audience, to the WWE universe." Like I knew he was gonna go in that direction. Yeah, a little bit of cliche, but he's a
So you
baby
don't
face.
write
Like
for
I'm like,
WWE, man.
I mean, well, but it's you're watching this for so many years.
Yeah,
You know what they're gonna say, and you know what
yeah,
most match finishes are
yeah,
gonna be. That's why, again, when there is a twist, it makes it that much more exciting because the show is so predictable
yeah,
99% of the time that when you do have that 1% of the time where it actually flips the script, then it makes it worth it. Listen, being a wrestling fan, you get dealt a lot of crap. You have to put up with a lot of shit over the years, but when that one epic moment happens, it makes it all worth it. This was one of those moments. I would say the last time that I had a feeling like this, where I quote unquote marked out, was when Sting debuted. I think to me, like when I rewatched that clip when Sting made his debut,
but where
like I still get,
for WWE, you're saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. When he made his debut and Triple H is there in the ring and he comes out and bro, like I freaking had goosebumps, man. I got goosebumps right now, literally just like talking about it. Okay, like to me
Exactly.
that was a moment. No, because Sting was my favorite in WCW, and he was like the one soldier that refused to go over there. And then when he made his debut, and then he hit the freaking Scorpion Death Drop on Triple H, man, what a freaking moment!
That
They
was
completely they completely destroyed that moment, because they booked him like crap up until and after WrestleMania. So they destroyed the moment, but still, that was a moment, And tonight, or rather last night with Cena, that was a moment. That's something I'm going to be rewatching on YouTube. Like that was a freaking iconic
yeah.
moment, and I didn't see it coming. I really didn't. Maybe people say, "Oh, we saw it coming." I didn't see it coming, so I thought it was well done. He rejected The Rock. He dropped an F bomb, which I thought was interesting because I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever heard a uncensored F bomb on WWE before. So that was
Yeah.
interesting. I'm like, oh wow, they dropped an F bomb. They've never done that before. And then he turns around, shakes hands with The Rock, and boom, a low blow, and the beatdown begins. It was well done.
Yeah.
Oh, The Rock did his little thing
Yeah.
over here.
I was just like, I feel like that was over the top. For me, in a sense of, okay, we know you're already bad. You're changing your name, your look, your everything. You're going back to the heel rock, or Hollywood heel rock, basically. But like coming back, like just me, just go or rewinding a little bit, like right to that moment where we get both of them in the ring. I'm like, okay, the smiles are there and everything, but then I'm like, I'm still looking at Cena like there's something's gonna happen just because right? When it's a normal, okay, he won the chamber, champion comes out, they will have like this end time, and then like either the champion leaves or the winner leaves the ring, and then somebody's gonna cut a promo. So I found it interesting that he stood there for the whole time,
Yeah, yeah.
and I felt like Cena played it perfectly, like hiding all the reactions. But for me, as somebody who follows and is very like like I'm very in tune when it comes to all the how you say detail orientated. I saw John Cena's foot and he was just like twitching and twitching, and I was like,
Ooh.
"Why are you nervous? Why are you like?" It was just like a little, like a slow, like so little that you won't even notice it. But then like you notice it when he kind of like bounces back off the off the ropes, and then boom, we get the Rock's music, and I'm like, okay,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Now I'm
yeah,
gonna have to go back and
because there was
watch
like
that
a
over.
little on his leg. It was just like I was just noticing that, but I was like, maybe he could have been tired from the match, but whatever. But once I heard the Rock's music, I'm like, okay, that's why he didn't leave. That's why he was just like a little antsy. Like they were just waiting for that one moment, one spot where Cody was gonna say that word. Okay, boom, Rock comes out, and again, like going back to that Travis Scott thing, I'm like, I know you're using his music for your entrance, but you didn't even get the live crowd. What happened?
No,
Um,
I'm saying I'm just I'm like that segment was crap, bro.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
him being
yeah.
out there.
Travis Scott, I felt like he was
Uh,
walking with an invisible leash, like directing him to the ring. He was just high as a kite. He was just,
oh man,
yeah, he was just
that guy
gone.
was on something. He was on something. I'll tell you that.
And I didn't like that Sage thing either. That thing was hard. Like, why are you lighting Sage in an arena? Like, nobody. What? It's not. I felt like that also was weird because Sage is more used for like cleansing and all these people who deal with the dark arts or whatever. So I was just like,
Yeah.
it doesn't fit at all.
You sure he
So
wasn't? You sure he wasn't lighting a joint?
no, the guy even like the commentary were saying it like, hey, he's lighting sage, and then that was the thing that he was like circling around. Like I don't know if you
Wow.
saw him light it up. He lit it up, and
I
I was
didn't.
like,
I didn't even realize that. I saw him doing a thing, but I didn't even
yeah, it was
realize that
so
was what he was
small.
doing.
Yeah, once they said it and he kept smelling it, like he was like, that's the thing too. So I'm like, was
Bro,
that
I
sage?
got I got a whole I got a whole crazy conspiracy about Travis Scott. I don't know if you've heard about the festival incident that happened a couple of years ago, and people were
Uh
calling it a satanic ritual.
oh
Astro
yeah,
World, I think it was called Astro World.
yeah.
Bro, I'm not going to get into it right now because I don't want to hijack the stream. We could do a whole show talking about that. But I watched a couple of videos. Look up Travis Scott, Astro World, Satanic Ritual, man. It's some
Mhm.
scary stuff. And ever since I watched that stuff, like I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy, but ever since I watched that stuff, I just can't look at the guy the same way. And now you're telling me about the sage. He's doing some ritual with the sage.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
like
Some
I'm
shady
just
stuff
amazed.
going
Like
on there.
I know it was late, but like, and I rewatched it this morning. Like I told you, I was like, I gotta catch up and like rewatch it just because yesterday I was nodding off. Like, so I was like, I have to rewatch it. And that was something that I caught as well. So for me, it was well done. Like, in the sense of, okay, whatever. I ignored Travis Scott. I was just like, I put a wall because he basically wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything, just carrying that hardcore belt made in the new WWE way, which I still say is a spin in the face to Mick Foley. But that's WWE and their title. They do what they want. But yeah, I wouldn't want to have anybody else carry it unless they're going to go hardcore. So The Rock, his thing was perfect. He is playing the heel version of the best Rock we can get, like in the sense of final boss status, owner of portion of the company, you know, chair, part of the board. Every like across the board, he is somebody who I can be like, okay, we got the corporation vibes. Like you remember Vince McMahon doing the
Oh yeah,
corporation,
man. Good
and
times. Good
then they did
times.
the corporation with the Undertaker. I think it was like Ministry of Corporation because it was like the
Yeah, yeah,
ministry.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're getting this because that's the moment I heard that promo. was cut, even though it was weird. But I felt like, okay, they're going this way. That has to happen, or else the payoff cannot be anything worse. But I did not expect John Cena to join The Rock. I felt like Cody was going to get turn heel. We were going to get him black hair, black everything, and he just gonna hold the title for another year or even two, and just like match Roman to the point that everybody was fed up with Cody. But and you couldn't even like my final thoughts on it was like, okay, I would have had Cody turn heel with The Rock, and then the other Samoan family, like Jacob Fatu, and the his other two cousins. I forgot their name. The brothers that were with
Yeah,
Samoa.
The Timu
Yeah,
bloodline.
yeah. Those three could be the backup for The Rock because they
Mm.
all are, and then they'll back up Cody because if you think back to the corporation style, Rock was the corporate champion. They had the big boss man. Then they had other people to help The Rock retain that title. So it was like, okay. And I think, if I'm correct, I think Stone Cold did a little bit of the corporate champion too, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah, he
And then
went
he
heel, I
screwed him.
think, yeah, for a very short time, but people
Yeah.
weren't really into it.
So that's what I was looking for. Like I didn't think about Cena at all turning bad. I was like, he's gonna win and he's gonna try to help. That was what I was thinking, honestly.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm happy they didn't turn Cody heel because for me, when it comes to storylines and turning characters babyface or heel, I
Yeah.
feel like you should always do it organically. You shouldn't just so like with Roman Reigns, they tried to shove him down people's throats as a babyface for years, and it clearly wasn't working. People did not want to cheer this man for whatever reason. I always liked Roman. I always saw him as a star, but people didn't like him. So they did the thing, a little bit too late, but better late than ever, and he turned out to be one of the best heels they've had probably in the modern era. And then people got to the point where they respected him so much as a character that now they actually want to cheer for him. So you organically turned him heel, and then you organically turned him babyface. That's how it should always be done. So with Cody, if people started turning on Cody and booing him, I would say yes, have him join The Rock, have him turn heel. But the fact that he's still cheered and the kids still look up to him, and he's that clean cut babyface in 2025, I'm happy they didn't turn him. And I hear he sells a lot of merch for them. So I think they did the right thing. Cena's the, old school baby face that was the face of for the last like 2 decades, right? But now he's turning heel. And it also adds a little twist because it makes him more interesting. You know Cena's going to be there for like what,
Yeah.
another 10, 11 months. So if he's just doing a quote unquote retirement tour, you're like, okay, he's going to have a few matches, he's going to win some, he's going to lose some, and then he's going to retire and whatever. But they actually added some stakes to it now. They actually put an interesting twist on things. So I like that. I like that they took the typical predictability route away and they actually threw in a little bit of chaos. And the most important thing, it adds intrigue to WrestleMania because from what I've seen, they still haven't sold out. Usually at this point, these tickets are sold out for a long time. I hear there's still a lot of tickets available.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I want to say
they needed
50.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, talk.
That because one, like, I got like 7%, so I'm going, like, I don't know how long I'm gonna go until my phone dies. But my thing was, because I got the phone, like the mic jack connected there, so it's like I either charge the phone or have the mic. But
It's all good, man. You can
uh,
give your final thoughts and we can wrap it up
yeah,
because we're already
but
almost
going
at an
back
hour
to
and a
that,
half.
but going back to what you were saying, it does have a perfect segue out of WrestleMania in the sense of, okay, we got him as a heel going into WrestleMania. He's gonna get the title for sure, get that 17th title reign, come out of WrestleMania as a heel, and then whoever is going to go after him is gonna, dethrone the heel Cena and
And
bring back.
maybe that's when you do Roman and Rock.
Yeah, probably next Mania has to be Roman and Rock as well. Yeah, that's what
You
I
know,
would say.
that's that could be something also, or maybe you do Roman versus Cena and then you interject the Rock in there somehow. I don't know. It's interesting, and this is what I like. I like when things are not predictable because I don't
Yeah,
know which direction they're going to go in. So and 99% of the time, I know which direction they're going to go in. So this is where the intrigue comes in, and they added a little bit of buzz. I feel like this WrestleMania build has been pretty weak thus far, but last night they definitely generated some buzz. So I'm going to be watching Mania. I'm looking forward to it. I watch it every year. It's
yeah.
a tradition that goes back many years. So hoping for good things. Should be a good time.
Yeah. So for me, I can't wait till Raw comes back. Well, tomorrow, less than 24 hours, to come back to the storylines, just because I want to know. And I think we're gonna have to wait a SmackDown to see the whole Jade Cargill, Naomi stuff, because they're saying that there's still some other stuff to unwind, because they did a post show as well, and Bianca
Mm.
was speaking afterwards. I saw a little bit of the post show. Cena didn't say nothing either, so he was just like, he just sat down, took the mic off, and just left. Like, I guess you don't want to hear it. But my thing is, like, we're gonna have to tune in at least for this week to be ready for what's coming up. Um, but it for me, final thoughts. Great pay per view. Love the twist that got me guessing to the very end. Especially with the finishes, and I felt like they did a little bit of everything in the match, whether it was catering to the women, to the men, hardcore. Gave us something new, something different, and gave us a little bit of the legends with Trish, and we did get some throwback with The Rock and Cena, and Cena and Punk as well, because Punk is up there as
Yeah,
well, and he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, so for me, I feel like 9 out of 10 for a pay per view. The only reason
yeah. I
why,
would have to. Yeah, I would give it something similar. I really liked it, and to me, I thought Royal Rumble was a big letdown. I did not enjoy Royal Rumble. Usually, that's one of my favorite shows. I feel like this past one was really boring.
yeah,
And there's a couple of good spots, obviously, but overall, I thought it was a very lackluster show, and I wasn't really excited going into Mania season. But this show turned it around. I genuinely enjoyed it, and I say that as a complete casual who just watches 5 or 6 shows a year. I enjoyed it, and I'm excited for Mania. Bring on Mania. I'm looking forward to it,
yeah.
bro.
And I just thought of something which I do agree with you. Like, why do we have to pay extra to get the can like the little footage of before the matches and everything, whether it's on
I was going to
Netflix
ask you about
or
that because
Peacock?
I
Yeah,
actually didn't watch it on Peacock yesterday. I streamed it on one of my private websites because the last time I streamed a show on Peacock, they ran ads instead of showing video packages. How the
yeah.
hell
It was
am
the
I supposed
ads.
to watch?
We didn't get
Yeah, but you can throw in ads at other points. How can you throw in ads instead of a video package? You got to assume that people watching the pay-per-views aren't watching week to week. So how can you expect somebody to go into a match and not air the video package? It makes no sense. I don't watch the weekly shows. I watch just pay-per-views and not all of them. I watch like 6 a year. So I don't know the storylines going on. I don't read dirt sheets. I don't watch weekly shows.
yeah.
So I didn't even take a chance on Peacock yesterday. I said, forget it. I'm gonna stream it. I have
Mhm.
like 2, 3 websites that I have bookmarked, and the stream was good. Honestly, better quality than Peacock. Go figure.
Yeah, and what, and also which I I know they're gonna start doing this later on. Since TNA loves to do video packages, which I adore them for that, because they do that whole rundown with the like an hour before that they do give you a match, and they do it in between. And the reason why I bring up TNA is, one, they do the video packages very well, and also they're doing cross promotional work with NXT, so we are going to get a lot of that. I think that first pay per view is going to be the NXT one, so I'm saying you guys do not want to miss it. It will be both NXT and TNA titles on the line. Hardys have the TNA tag titles. They defended it this past weekend. I mean, this past week on TNA. So they're going to do it again over there. But I think it's now for the NXT tag team titles. They're going to show up at that pay per view. Also, we're going to have X Division champion Moose. He's going to take on Oba, the NXT
Bro,
champion.
Moose is still there. That dude is
Yeah,
still there.
remember, Moose has money,
Wow.
so he's like, I don't want to go to WWE. I want to be here, control my narrative, kind of thing. Yeah,
Wow.
he's
Okay.
there,
Cool.
and he has a whole. He's in a crew now with Eddie Edwards. They call the System. He's with Brian Myers, former WWE guy, um, and he was. I think he was. He was the guy who had the longest streak for losing. I think it was like 205. before he left
I haven't
WWE.
kept up. I haven't kept up with
Um,
TNA in years, man. TNA was my favorite promotion, honestly. From like '07 to
yeah,
2014, I would say it was better than WWE for like those
yeah.
years. Even
So
during the Aces and Eights era, people like used to hate on the Aces and Eights. I thought it was
I
great. I
love
loved
that.
the
I
Aces
love
and
that.
Eights.
I didn't even know Bully was the leader. I didn't even know
It
Devon
was
was
so
there.
good, man. TNA
Then
was freaking
Gallows was in
amazing
that
during those
too. I was like,
times.
oof. It was just
And
like,
also, like during the Dixieland era, when she had Rockstar Spud and Ethan Carter, man, those were
yeah,
freaking amazing times. That was
yeah.
some amazing television, you know. EC3 is another underutilized talent. WWE dropped the ball on him numerous times. Man, what a freaking waste of a talent.
And I love that main event Mafia. That was the best. Like, oof.
Oh my God, I still remember the theme. That was one of the most epic themes ever. Wow,
And
freaking good
oh,
times, man.
just thinking about that, Samoa Joe is doing something like that in AW. He has Taz's son Hook, part of his team over there,
That's cool.
and they're called the Ops because like the new word for I guess like people you're beefing with is your ops. So they started a group like that, but it does have that mafia main event style and another little nugget. Samoa Joe just finished Twisted Metal season 2, so can't wait for that one to come out because he does play the
Oh,
game.
I didn't even watch that yet.
Yeah, he's season 1 is out, so you can stream it if you want. So that's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, I'll check it out. Hi,
So
brother. I think we've covered
yeah,
pretty much everything
yeah,
here that there is to
yeah.
cover.
Anything you
Yeah,
want to
man.
plug in right before we leave? Any supplements?
Yeah, if yeah, just my YouTube channel and my Instagram. YouTube is High-Stim Ace. Instagram at High-Stim Ace. If you guys are into fitness supplements, pre-workouts, proteins, all that other fun stuff, you could check out my channel. I think I got like 250 videos, which is freaking insane. That I'm looking at it and I'm seeing 250. I'm like, holy crap! When did I record
Yeah,
this many videos? But yeah, man, two, three,
time.
four videos a week. It adds up. I haven't been as involved lately because I've been dealing with a lot of personal stuff. I've been dealing with some health issues, some injuries. So, I'm not really running the pre workouts I want to as much. But you know what? No matter what, I'm always going to be dropping at least 2 videos a week. So, I'm never going to go away completely. But yeah, man, I'm going to be reviewing this one probably. I'm going to run it one more time. The Stim Shady. I ran it today. I really liked it. Very solid. So that's going to be probably my next review. Might record something for tomorrow. We'll see. I got some stuff I got to do around the house, but we shall see. But yeah, guys, YouTube High-Stim
Yeah.
Ace, Instagram at High-Stim Ace.
Yeah, so I'll add it in the description down below after my phone charges because I'm down to
Yes.
2%. But I will plug in, and this is the wrestling wall. I have the supplement wall across from me, and I think the next supplement I will be reviewing is another Panda supplement, Panda Greens. And after that, I believe I got to run the After Dark Inhuman pre workout. I know you
Mm.
have it. I looked at the label. It's I believe it's the same. The just the label changes for the flavor. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
So I got the
yeah.
Matrix Inhuman one. So those will be probably the next two on the channel. And one last thing. I want to thank Ace for introducing me to the new version of the Molotov. He was like, "Hey, take a look at that one." I had the OG. It
Yeah,
finished,
it's a
and I
good one.
got V3 now. I'm gonna review it, but like 4 capsules, I cannot do four. It was just too much. But
I
we'll
love it.
yeah. So with that, guys, man, thank you for joining us for this live stream, and it'll be on the YouTube channel for you guys to come back to and review it. And you can always head over to High Stim Mace's channel for more high stim supplement reviews because he does get these high stim pre workouts that you normally can't find in every fitness or GNC or vitamin shop store, and he will tell you where you can pick it up, especially that kill switch. Damn, that thing was insane.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right. So with that, guys, this is Harry from Premium Supplement Reviews signing off, and we have Ace from High Stim Ace and his review channel, and he'll be signing off as well. All right. So thank you for
Alrighty.
joining.
Take care.
Have a great
I'll see you.
week, I
Take
guess,
care.
because the weekend is done. All right. All right.
Back to work. Back to the grind.
See you.
Take care.